This hour by Frederick Remington, fully cooked, ready-to-eat bacon. Exclusive, no refrigeration, 10-year extended shelf life bacon. The thickest, meatiest, center-cut bacon in the industry at fullycookedbacon.com.
The stocks discussed on Wall Street Raw are not in any way a recommendation or solicitation to buy, sell, or hold. If considering on acting on information, we first recommend you seek out a competent, licensed professional for advice.
What kingdom has sent you?
The kingdom of the Most High.
Nothing you have ever experienced can prepare you for the unbridled carnage you're about to witness. The Super Bowl, the World Series, they don't know what pressure is. In this building, it's either kill or be killed. You make no friends in the pits and you take no prisoners. 1 minute, you're up $500,000 in soybeans, and the next, boom, your kids don't go to college and they've repossessed your Bentley. Are you with me?
The Genesis Communication Network is proud to bring you Wall Street Raw with nationally recognized market timer and previous Wall Street Week elf, Mark Leibovit, welcoming you on board his financial time machine. And here is the elf himself, Mark Leibovit.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Welcome to Wall Street Raw on this Saturday, March 31st, the end of the month, end of the quarter, and right into the Passover Easter weekend. So I appreciate you tuning in, as I always do, as you have many other choices on a weekend, particularly on a Saturday morning to do so. Many of you may know me from the old Wall Street Week with Louis Rukeyser TV show from the 80s, 90s, and so forth, where I was one of the L's. Many of you may recognize my name from the Nightly Business Report with Paul Kangas on PBS, where I was a market monitor guest for 3 decades, and of course publishing my VRTrader.com newsletter for many, many years. And with regard to that, I do want to remind all of our listeners that we have launched a couple new products to VRTrader.com. We have a new sort of wild product called the Trading Addict for those looking for short-term trading ideas. So you go to VRTrader.com for that, and come mid-April, we're going to be launching the VR Crypto Letter. So many of our subscribers have asked us for information on the various ICOs and Bitcoin and many of the stocks that are involved in the blockchain technology. So the VR Crypto Letter is coming in mid-April. So it'll be more of a monthly letter, but give you some real insights. And frankly, I'm learning every day myself because it's a wild and new area. So between Trading Addict and VR Crypto Letter, we got a couple new ideas from our services. So we can wrap up the week. As I mentioned a moment ago, in the month of March in the first quarter, and for the week the Dow rose 2.6%, while the S&P added 2.1%, and the NASDAQ was up 1% for the month of March. All of these saw steep declines, as you know, with the Dow off 3.5% and the S&P off 2.7% and the NASDAQ off 2.9%. Frankly, for the NASDAQ, the biggest monthly drop since January 2016. So in the first quarter, during which time the Dow and S&P fell into correction territory, the Dow fell 2.3% and the S&P lost 1.2%. It both ended 9-quarter streaks of gains. So the recent downturn in stocks, we bring out the value investors. The S&P 500 is trading at about 16.5 times forward earnings. For those of you who pay attention to that, we're more technical, but it's well below the 18.9 level that it was at in mid-December. Valuations as measured by price-earning ratios are now at the lowest since 2016. And when you add the S&P 500's 1.9% divided yield into its 2% buyback yield, investors get a distribution level of almost 4%. So that's historically high levels. So now as we move into April, we also move into earnings reporting season. Analysts now expect first quarter earnings for S&P companies to rise 18.5% from the year ago. So things are still looking okay on the economy. But, sometimes you get good news at the tops and bad news at the bottoms. And if we've entered a bear market, that should become pretty evident here in the next couple months if we start taking out the lows from February and volume starts to pick up, or maybe just going to be a more sizable correction, in the 20% category before we start moving higher. Of course, you've got the political situation with the midterm elections coming up. Everybody's aware of that. And, of course, the Democrats are out there to do whatever they can to try to push Trump out of office or reduce his power. So that's going to be a big problem, I suppose, if that happens in terms of perception, and the market might get a bit nervous since much of the rally in the stock market has been a Trump-related rally. And with due praise. I mean, a lot of significant changes have occurred here. This is not a minor event, as you know. Of course, Trump may have pulled off a really amazing event here where we check with the Heritage Foundation. They rate Trump as a better president than Ronald Reagan in the first year. Trump fulfilled more conservative goals and objectives by far than Reagan did, and that makes Trump the most successful conservative president ever after in 1 year. But it's still a long way to go. That's like being ahead 21-0 in the first quarter of a football game. It sounds great, but you can still lose a few games there. But something really interesting has happened here. Trump was criticized for signing the budget bill here last week. And it really was not a budget. It was really an omnibus spending bill, which means Trump can ignore Congress's instructions on where to spend money, and the money can be allocated pretty much however he wants, just as Obama did, by the way. Trump can use the precedent to ignore the bad Democrat priorities in the bill and instead redirect the money into priorities like building the wall in Mexico, which is really, really interesting. So he can use his presidential powers to declare the wall with Mexico a national security emergency and redirect $25 billion of military spending towards building the wall. And we noticed a couple of the infrastructure stocks starting to rally here this week, a couple of which I've had on my list here in recent couple of years. That may be a reflection of this potential action on his part. So, a lot of interesting stuff going on. You can't shortchange his thinking, and maybe a lot of people think he's erratic or whatever, but basically maybe the biggest genius of them all in getting things accomplished. You remember, as we say, he's a businessman and he doesn't think like a politician, so that has a lot to do with that, of course. We always try to line up our show with a lot of interesting guests. We're waiting to hear from Henry Weingarten if he's available this morning. I'm going to bring back one of my old special guests, Arch Crawford, later in the program. Don Violo should be joining us in the next segment, and of course my good friend Sinclair No will be joining us as well during the program. So we're just going to continue with the thought that let's look at the markets here a little bit here on a Saturday morning. We've had a lot of volatility. We've got a lot of questions about what's happening in the various markets. The bond markets start to rally a bit this past week, just at a time when everyone thought it would continue to collapse, particularly with the Fed raising rates, but maybe they won't raise rates as fast as everybody thinks. And on the other hand, a little trepidation about the status of the stock market might be directing funds into the bond market, at least temporarily. The gold market, well, a lot of bulls out there are very disappointed. I mean, we rallied really nicely early in the week, this past week. Gold got up to about $13.56, and if you recall, it rallied up to $13.65 at the end of January, but it can't seem to get through that big 2016 high, which is that $13.72, $13.75 area. And that's a big number. And I suspect if we can get over that, particularly on a closing basis, all the bulls will jump in, and there could be some nice trading opportunities, maybe pushing it up to 1400 or 1450. If it doesn't mean that's going to be the beginning of or resumption of the big bull market, but it means some stops may be triggered, and you might see a big push to those levels. In silver, you really got to take out, I think it's at 1850, 1890 area. You really got to get some momentum going there to really confirm, at least on the charts, that something, I would say, let's look at 1826. That looks like a good number. Somewhere around there plus, which is almost $2 higher than it's now trading. But if it closes above that, then, we may have a run into the 20s in silver. But again, not necessarily the beginning of a big bull market. Don't touch your dial. We'll be back after the break with our special guest, Don Violo.
You're listening to Wall Street Raw with Mark Leibovit. Go to wallstreetrawradio.com for information on Mark's newsletters and products. Stay tuned. Mark will be right back.
Every industry faces distinguishing challenges and circumstances that shape the business and financial landscape. Camuso CPA LLC delivers unrivaled depth of knowledge and an engaging experience relevant to each client's industry-specific needs. Camuso offers preemptive guidance and knowledge required to achieve your greatest business and personal financial potential. Our approach is based on forging long-term business relationships accompanied by trust and value, creating an ever-important partnership. Build your dedicated financial team with us today. Visit CamusoCPA.com. That's CamusoCPA.com.
Warning, if you're drowning in debt you can't afford, do not let the credit card companies trick you into thinking that you have to pay it all back, because you don't. What the credit card companies don't want you to know is that there's actually a way to get debt-free without paying off your entire debt or going bankrupt. If you have $5,000 or more in credit card debt, you now have the right to let us settle that debt for a fraction of what you owe. For free information, call Credit Associates now. 1-800-959-5759. We'll even show you how much money you could save. If you can't afford to pay off all your debt, do not let the credit card companies trick you into thinking that you have to. Call Credit Associates now for free information on how to get debt-free faster than you ever thought possible without debt consolidation or bankruptcy. We depend on your success and offer a guarantee, so there's no risk. For free information, call now. 1-800-959-5759. That's 1-800-959-5759. 1-800-959-5759.
Tired of being censored by Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Patreon? Well, now you don't have to be. OneWay.com is the free speech and human-friendly social network built just for you. Stop feeding the beast. Every post you make on those evil, anti-human, anti-American perverted sites helps them destroy our families, our country, and our souls. Join One Way today and take back your liberty. Your free speech alternative is waiting for you at OneWay.com. OneWay.com.
Hunters, anglers, campers, and survivalists, get back to nature. Expand your horizons with the highest quality, most versatile, unique slingshots and sling bows on the market at slingbow.com. Slingbow products are compact and models start from just $17.98. They're perfect for your bug-out bag or storing in your vehicle. Give yourself and your loved ones the excitement and tradition of Slingbow, a new frontier in archery and truly modern twist on this primitive survival tool. Feel the thrill only at slingbow.com.
Hey, this is Ricky from Banyan Hill. You like freedom? I do. You like money? I do too. If you like freedom and money, then you're going to love Freedom Checks. You see, over the next few months, an estimated $34.6 billion is up for grabs to anyone who stakes their claim. Yep, you heard that right. $34.6 billion. To get all the details, just go to www.americanfreedomchecks.com. Thousands of people are already lined up to cash in. Take Doug, for example. He's a 46-year-old from Joplin, Missouri who's set to get a check for $24,075. And if Doug can do this, I've got a hunch that you can too. But here's the thing. If you want the chance to grab your full fair share of this $34.6 billion payout, you must have your ducks in a row by May 1st. So don't wait. Get over to www.americanfreedomchecks.com before May 1st. That's www.americanfreedomchecks.com.
Frustrated trying to get business capital? Want to take the slow process and rejection out of the equation? GCNloans.com removes the slow, irritating approval process. Instead, get quick, simple funding. Powered by David Allen Capital, 80% of our pre-qualified clients are approved in days. Pre-qualify at GCNloans.com and get your money this week. It's that easy. GCNloans.com. That's GCNloans.com.
Never show any sign of weakness. Always go for the throat. Buy low, sell high. Fear, that's the other guy's problem.
Welcome back to the Wall Street Raw Radio Show with Mark Leibovit, your time machine for the financial markets. Want to know more? Go to wallstreetrawradio.com. Now, here's the elf himself, Mark Leibovit.
Welcome back to Wall Street Raw on this Saturday, March 31st. I'm wishing all of our listeners a happy Passover and, of course, Easter, and really look forward to a lot of profitable and healthy and happy times ahead for all of our listeners and subscribers, investors, guests, and so forth. So a good, very exciting weekend here. We have our good friend Henry Weingarten on the line. Henry has been a regular on our show for a couple of years, and of course, as I said, a good friend. And he's the creator of the Astrologers Fund. And if you want more information from Henry, you go to afund.com. And Henry combines, by the way, a lot of interesting factors into his analysis. He does do astro work, and I came in touch with this many years ago when I was a floor trader, but it's one piece of the puzzle, and he uses fundamental and cyclical indicators and technical indicators, so he's really a well-rounded analyst, and we really appreciate having him. Henry, good morning. Thank you for joining us on the Passover Easter weekend.
Yes. Nice times. I'm off to Hong Kong this afternoon, so I'm sort of happy to be there for 10 days for a Minds and Money conference.
Wow.
Which we think will be pretty active. We were at PDAC, which is the equivalent in Toronto. It was pretty active this year because obviously natural resources are going to be doing well, at least until 2020. So that's pretty good. We're sort of just sitting around waiting. We still start bullish in here. As we get to the end of the month, we become slightly bearish, but we're not sure there's much downside from here. It's probably range bound. So the interesting part is the gold market, which has been trying to break out of that range of 1,300 to 1,365. So we're going to watch that for the next 2-3 weeks. But a number of stocks have done very well there, so we like that. As for the rest, I think technology is still under pressure. And we've been hedged and staying hedged for a while to wait and see what happens. The interesting thing, though, is in the Bitcoin area, we've been quite bearish. Sometime next week, we have to cover and protect our shorts because it may go up for a few days.
Okay. That's about it. No big...
Now you can tell them I'm half on vacation already.
But no big rally. But you indicated last week there might be a big rally in Bitcoin in April.
Well, a big rally in Bitcoin could be, but we had to see if it was going to hold 8,000. It didn't hold 8,000. We have a target of under 5,000 for in June, certainly by the end of June. So I didn't know how high it's going to go. We have 11,000 resistance, 10,000 resistance, and now 9,000 resistance. So it can certainly get above 8,000 to 9,000. But given the way it was on Friday, because obviously it's in bad shape. I mean, fundamentally, it's first generation when people are in fourth and fifth generation. So it's so out of date. It's just absurd. And I could spend the next hour talking about why it's out of date. But, there may be some good news for it. It just means as bears, which is what we are, we have to protect ourselves. If I was bullish on it, I would be buying next week. But the point is the major trend is down. It's just a short-term trend up, potentially.
Henry, I'm going to let you go and get on that plane to Hong Kong. We have Don Villot on the line.
I don't want to miss it.
Okay, so have a great and safe trip, and hopefully we'll get in touch with you when you can after your return.
The next, absolutely.
Thank you, Henry.
Pleasure.
Henry Weingarten from the Astrologers Fund, afund.com if you want more information. Thank you, Henry. Don Villot's on the line, my good friend from Canada, who is the creator of two great blogs. We use them all the time in our newsletter, by the way, equityclock.com and timingthemarket.ca if you're looking for cyclical timing patterns in both indexes and stocks, and seasonality is Don's forte. Don, thank you again for joining us.
Thanks for having me back, Mark.
A lot to talk about here. A lot of encouraging technical action in North American equities. Tell me a little bit about that.
Interesting. A lot of the things that Henry just mentioned, I support as well. Short-term looks very interesting. On Thursday, we saw a number of short-term momentum indicators turn positive. Now, this is opportune from a seasonality point of view. Historically, during the past 50 years, the month of April has been very, very positive for U.S. equity markets. And in fact, it's been the second strongest month of the year, second only to December.
Okay. But meanwhile, we've had a lot of volatility here. Do you expect that to continue?
Yeah, volatility is expected to continue, particularly as we enter the first quarter earnings report season. Now remember, most first quarter earnings reports are released at annual meetings, and CEOs just love to get in front of their shareholders and say, hey, we had a great year last year, and it's going to get even better this year. So the key is to watch first quarter reports coming out during the next little while. So far, there's only been 7 S&P 500 companies that have reported to date, but results have been very encouraging. All of those stocks have popped very, very nicely. And first quarter reports are going to be very, very strong on a year-over-year basis. The consensus right now is that they will be up 18.5%. Also look at something else that's important at these annual meetings. Look for many companies to increase their dividends and announce share buybacks.
That's been the big support factor for the market for years, is the corporate buybacks. And I have some statistics I'm having in front of me here. We're almost at near record levels.
Yeah, that's going to really ramp up when we start to see very, very strong first quarter results.
All right. Well, maybe they'll support the stock market. So the energy sector continues to show continued strength. I think oil really surprised a lot of the bears out there. Thought we were going to have a big correction. Didn't happen.
Yeah, it's amazing. Oil prices have held their upward trend, their intermediate upward trend, and it looks like they're having a good shot at the previous high, which is just above $66. More important, I think, is what's happening with natural gas. Natural gas prices were up almost 3.5% last week, and we're getting very close to the completion of a base building pattern. A break above the 281 level for MBTU for natural gas will trigger a lot of technical buying going forward. So look very closely at natural gas and gassy stocks. I prefer gassy stocks as opposed to the actual commodity.
And there's an ETF you favor too, right?
Yes, the First Trust Natural Gas ETF is probably one of the more interesting ways of playing it. Symbol is FCG.
Okay, so looks like the play is going to be in natural gas, and we've got to watch those earnings for those companies, because a lot of people think if you sell may go away, but maybe we'll have a nice rally before that happens, Don, hopefully. Okay.
Well, the key is what Henry just mentioned. Short term looks very good, particularly in the month of April. Once you get beyond April, that's another story, and we'll talk about that in our future comments.
Don, I want to appreciate very much you joining us again, as you do every week. Don Violo from EquityClock.com and TimingTheMarket.ca. Talk to you next week, Don. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Mark.
Don't touch your dial. We'll be back right after the break.
Go to WallStreetRawRadio.com for more information on Mark's newsletters and products. Stay tuned. Mark will be right back.
High-performance investors and traders use superior financial tools to achieve superior returns. You have that tool with Mark Leibovit, nationally renowned top market timer, legendary television Wall Street Week elf, and nightly business report market monitor, who shares with you his unique market tools and commentary at WallStreetRaw.com. Here, Mark provides you with his latest ideas on how to help build and protect your wealth and help you avoid the next big market tsunami. Mark has a special free gift for listeners of his Wall Street Raw radio show. Go to WallStreetRaw.com and sign up for his free monthly Cannabis Vice News Raw report. While there, go ahead and sign up for his free monthly Gold News Raw report. Both are totally free. No credit card information is required, and no one will call. Sign up today for your free Cannabis Vice News Raw report and Gold News Raw report at WallStreetRaw.com.
If you owe money to the IRS, you need to hear this. The IRS is cracking down on those who owe back taxes. It starts with a devastating letter, and if you don't act immediately, you could find yourself having your wages garnished or have a lien placed on your property. But But there's a solution. Tax 10,000 can help. Avoid enforced compliance, where these holds on your income and seizure of your home could become a nightmare that just won't end. Call 800-239-9957 now and speak to one of our experts. 800-239-9957 is the number to link you directly to a tax resolution specialist who will negotiate with the IRS on your behalf. Working through the IRS Fresh Start program, all the forms will be handled for you. All you have to do is make the toll-free call. 800-239-9957. Find out if you qualify and possibly save yourself thousands of dollars, not to mention a lot of headaches. It could be the best call you've made today. That number again, 800-239-9957. The service does not provide tax settlement or legal services. We will refer you to a company that does provide such services. Often the IRS will not agree to any reduction in the amount owed. Not all taxpayers who owe more than $10,000 will qualify for a tax reduction program.
What would your life be like if you woke up each morning with new vitality, feeling better than you have in years, and you noticed a difference in your sleeping patterns, blood sugar levels, and had a sense of well-being overall? There's something that is changing thousands of people's lives, and you could be one of them. It's called Heart and Body Extract. Sharon Harris, co-creator of Heart and Body Extract, talks about the positive effects of Heart and Body Extract.
What happens with the formula Heart and Body Extract is it's giving the body the necessary vitamins, minerals, amino acids, enzymes, and phytonutrients so the body will heal itself. And yes, the body does have the ability to balance blood pressure, balance cholesterol, clean and unclog the arteries. It can also work on balancing the circulation for diabetics. So the body is an amazing thing. It simply needs some help so it has the tools to heal itself.
Heart and Body Extract gets results. To order your 2-month supply, call now, toll free at 866-295-5305. Order online at hbextract.com.
Attention business owners and independent contractors. This is a money-saving message from Tax Mediation Services. If your business owes $20,000 or more in taxes, we can help you today, right now. Listen, dealing with the IRS is no picnic. It's an intimidating and extremely stressful process, and you don't want to go it alone. Our attorneys know every law, every tax break, and every possible opportunity to help you resolve and reduce your tax debt. And if you owe more than $20,000, you may be at the top of their hit list. So don't take your tax debt lightly, because it will not go away on its own. The IRS can seize your bank accounts, your home, and even shut down your business. Call our tax experts today at 1-800-261-9818 and let us deal with the IRS while you focus on your business. That's 1-800-261-9818. Again, 800-261-9818.
Welcome back to Wall Street Raw. Want to know more about Wall Street Raw and the Leibovit VR newsletters? Go to wallstreetrawradio.com.
Welcome back to Wall Street Raw. I'm your host, Mark Leibovit, and most appreciative, as always, that you tune in on Saturday morning and listen to our show. We always try to line up a whole series of very special guests. And one of them is my very good friend for many decades, Arch Crawford, who was kind enough to join us on this Saturday morning. Arch's reputation precedes him. He's been a technical analyst, and he was one of the top technical analysts, and he worked way back with Bob Farrell in the early 1960s on Wall Street. He did extensive research into the astrophysical phenomenon, astrology, and its correlation to the market performance. And he's edited his Crawford Perspectives newsletter for many decades. You may have seen him on all the major television networks, including CNBC. And I always joke that no matter who you were on Wall Street, someone's got a closet astrologer in their back pocket, and it's usually Arch Crawford. So it's always a pleasure having Arch on the show. And we're going to talk a little bit about the more generic aspects of what he does and the bigger picture views. Good morning, Arch. Thank you again for joining us.
Delighted to be here.
Wow, so much going on in the markets in the past several months. Many are calling for the beginning of a bear market, particularly after such a huge multi-year advance. Others are suggesting it's just a correction, particularly since Trump is still in charge and the economy seems to be getting better. Let's chat a little bit about your intermediate views for the market, if you have a moment.
Well, basically, my long-term experience is that the market tends to top out 4 to 6 months, 4 to 9 months before the economic statistics shift. So you can't depend on the economics to predict the stock market, because the stock market predicts the economics.
Mm-hmm.
So better the technical analysis, and if you're breaking important support levels and moving averages and trend lines, then that's what's going to be important for the economy later.
Have you seen first signs of that in your work?
Well, we have. The top was an astronomic day that I sent out to everybody that had ever subscribed before, and I put it on Google, and I put it on LinkedIn, and I put it on Facebook, and I put it on MarketWatch, that it was going to be a very, very powerful date around January the 25th, plus or minus 3 days, and the top was the following day in American markets, and it was the exact day in the Japanese market.
Wow.
And then, of course, we went down to the 200-day moving average in the SPX and close to it in the NASDAQ, and not quite down to it in the Dow Jones. Then we rallied back up a decent percentage, a little more than a normal 618 retracement. And then we started down again. And so far we've stopped, although some of the indexes hit a lower low close, none of them broke the actual low of the previous low that took place on February 5th or 6th.
Arch, in your newsletter, you talk about April, and here we are in April now, has ugly yet powerful history for the United States. Let's talk a little bit about those great dates that you have in your letter.
Okay, well, what's actually happening in the sky in April is that the three most negative powerful planets, Mars, Saturn, and Pluto, are considered malefics by the ancients, and because things that you don't like to happen, but they're teaching instruments of our soul or our spirit, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So the thing is that the three malefic planets will be in 12 1/4 degrees of each other. I mean, they'll all three be within the 12 1/4 degrees. Mars, Saturn, and Pluto. And from the 2nd of April to the 26th of April. And the history of the United States is that we started, the revolution started, the attack on Fort Sumter started, the Civil War, the bombings of the destruction of Waco, and the following a few years later the Oklahoma bombing. Both were on the 19th of April. Hitler was born on the 20th, and there's just a raft of other things that
President Lincoln was assassinated then too, right?
Oh yes, and I think there was a bomb in Beirut destroyed our embassy there in 1983, on the 19th also. So the 19th has been where the greatest part has been centered, and we'll see what happens, because that Mars-Pluto conjunction is on the 26th. And that's one of the nastiest. I just read in the paper yesterday that that's the date that North and South Korea are going to get together to talk about getting together or speaking to each other. And I would say that that's the most hostile day, period. And I don't think much will come of it in any positive way, certainly.
Yeah, and I read also that Khrushchev had his famous quote that in that time period, "We will bury you," in mid-April too, right?
Well, no, he was born in mid-April.
Oh, I see.
I don't know when he gave that talk. I'll have to look that up.
Okay. So all these negative events, of course, they're significant to our daily lives and the political world. Will they affect the stock market, do you think? Is that what you're really saying?
Well, some of those events did affect the stock market rather dramatically. At the beginning of World War I, for instance, they closed the market for 4 months. That's the longest it's ever been shut down. Then at the beginning of, after 9/11, it was closed the third longest period, I think, from the 11th to the 17th of September 2001. And the following week was the worst week in the market since the fall of France in May of 1940. So that some of these events were very great, but I think the bombings in Waco and Oklahoma City didn't affect the market hardly at all. And actually, Pearl Harbor affected it very little, and it was only down like a little over 8%, like by Wednesday after the Sunday. And that was the worst. That was the worst.
March, I know, unfortunately, we ran out of time. Arch Crawford, I want all of you to go to CrawfordPerspectives.com to get some of these great insights. Great letter. We've used it, read it, studied it for years, and it's always a pleasure having Arch on the show. Arch, the interview went really fast. We had a very short segment. Arch Crawford from Crawford Perspectives, and we'll talk to you again real soon. Thank you. Thank you, Arch. And don't touch your dial, folks. We'll be back right after the break with our good friend Sinclair No.
You are listening to Wall Street Raw with Mark Leibovit. Go to wallstreetrawradio.com for information on Mark's newsletters and products. Stay tuned. Mark will be right back.
High-performance investors and traders use superior financial tools to achieve superior returns. You have that tool with Mark Leibovit, nationally renowned top market timer, legendary television Wall Street Week elf, and nightly business report market monitor, who shares with you his unique market tools and commentary at wallstreetraw.com. At wallstreetraw.com, Mark provides you with his latest ideas on how to help build and protect your wealth and help you avoid the next big market crash. Mark has a special free gift for listeners of his Wall Street Raw radio show. Go to wallstreetraw.com and sign up for his free monthly Cannabis Vice News Raw report. While there, go ahead and sign up for his free monthly Gold News Raw report. Both are totally free. No credit card information is required. Sign up today for your free Cannabis Vice News Raw and Gold News Raw reports at wallstreetraw.com. That's wallstreetraw.com.
Every industry faces distinguishing challenges and circumstances that shape the business and financial landscape. Camuso CPA LLC delivers unrivaled depth of knowledge and an engaging experience relevant to each client's industry-specific needs. Camuso offers preemptive guidance and knowledge required to achieve your greatest business and personal financial potential. Our approach is based on forging long-term business relationships accompanied by trust and value, creating an ever-important partnership. Build your dedicated financial team with us today. Visit CamusoCPA.com. That's CamusoCPA.com.
Face it, today's electric power grid is more vulnerable than ever. From natural disasters to EMP attacks and hacking, the grid could be crippled for days or even decades in the most dire scenarios. Visit quantumharvest.net to see our built-to-last EMP-protected solar power systems. While millions suffer, you'll have vital power for water pumps, refrigeration, and sanitation. Now that's peace of mind. EMP-protected solar power systems for every need and budget. See our full range at quantumharvest.net.
This is Dan Pilla. Do you owe the IRS money you can't pay? Are tax debts crippling you? I've defended people from the IRS for over 30 years. I've helped thousands, and I can help you too. I wrote the book on IRS settlement, and I'm telling you, there's no such thing as a hopeless case. Call 800-34-NO-TAX to finally get free of IRS debt. With the IRS's new programs, there's never been a better time to solve your problem. Call 800-34-NO-TAX. That's 800-34-NO-TAX, or my website, danpilla.com.
Have you checked your Google search results lately? Search results are usually the first impression that people form of you or your business, so make sure that they create a positive impression with ReputationDefender.com. What the Internet says about you can have a big impact on your life and your livelihood, even if it's not true. Fortunately, you can now control how you look online and in online search results with ReputationDefender.com. Call 800-831-0771 now. That's 800-831-0771 for your free reputation analysis. If you have negative material from an ex-employee, upset patient, or former client, newspaper article, legal issue, social media, or other source showing up in your search results, you can combat it with ReputationDefender.com. Our dedicated experts in patented technology can help make your online search results look their best. Call 800-831-0771 to learn more. 800-831-0771. That's 800-831-0771. Or visit ReputationDefender.com.
Hear that? That's the sound of a house being trashed while a gang of thieves ransack the place. And what they don't steal will be destroyed.
This year, resolve not to be the next victim of a break-in. Go to faketv.com and discover a device that creates the illusion someone inside is watching TV, even when you're miles away. Security is a mindset, and Fake TV should be part of your security solution. Be vigilant, but not fearful. faketv.com.
Responsibility begins and ends with our partners and our shareholders, and that's it.
There is no freedom without the law.
Get it? Got it? Good.
Welcome back to Wall Street Raw and the final segment with Mark Leibovit. Now, here's the elf himself.
Welcome back to Wall Street Raw on this Saturday, March 31st, and we have our good friend Harry Boxer on the line with us. Harry, we're making this recording on Friday for Saturday, but the markets are closed, so it worked out really good for us this week. How are you doing?
Not bad. I see you save the best for last.
Actually, we have one more guest after you, but I agree with you. I agree with you anyway. Harry, so we only have a couple minutes because we ran out of time on our show a little bit today. What's your pleasure in the 2 minutes we have?
Well, just that the market's in the the level of increased volatility is amazing, but it's good for day traders and swing traders. But you got to be quick and you got to be nimble. I noticed that this week. Some of our longs, which I told my people that when you get if you're staying long, you're staying long, and you're staying long, when the market finally does crack, you're going to get stopped out. But that's the whole purpose of stops. You cannot trade in a volatile market like this without stops. So even if you're stopped out, for the $5 or so that they charge you at an online brokerage firm, you move out of something when it breaks the support level or a stop, then you can move right back in if it reestablishes the trend. But that's the key. Protecting capital and going forward, the number one thing and the most important thing is preservation of your capital so you can live to trade again.
If all you folks want more information from Harry, I want to encourage you to go to thetechtrader.com, thetechtrader.com. It is a holiday weekend, and but still, Harry's got plenty of information up there on his website, too, and he's got a lot of individual hot stocks that he trades intraday and on a swing basis. So regardless of what the overall market does, thetechtrader.com is a great platform for all of you. So, Harry, as I said, we ran out of time a little this week, but I want to at least get you on for a quick comment, and have a great Passover Easter weekend, and we'll talk to you next week. Harry Boxer from the techtrader.com.
Okay, we'll talk to you again. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Well, we always have Sinclair on the line this segment, and we're waiting to get Sinclair on the line. So Sinclair No is the creator of the great blog etherbankers.com, and also I was going to say financial commentator at KFNN 1510 Phoenix. So he's always great to have him on the line. We'll get him on the line hopefully here in the next few moments. We had the University of Michigan's Consumer Sentiment Report came out on Friday. It showed the attitudes about the economy inched down a little bit in a reading of 101.4 at the end of the month, but it's still the highest reading since 2004. The index dipped slightly lower at the end of March due to uncertainty about the impact of the proposed trade tariffs. And according to the report, concerns over trade policies offset positive reactions to recent tax reform legislations. And consumers also anticipated interest rates increasing in the foreseeable future, so that may have impacted the University of Michigan study. Sinclair Noah is on the line with us. Hi, Sinclair. Thank you for joining us.
Pleasure to be with you, Mark.
Okay, so we have so much to talk about in a few minutes that we have here. Let's talk about what's going on this past week with regard to the Cambridge Analytica scandal. That seems to be the big story affecting Facebook, Twitter, and a lot of chit-chat about what that means for Silicon Valley and those big companies.
Yeah, clearly we saw the big tech stocks getting just clobbered this week. Facebook receiving the most damage following the report about Cambridge Analytica acquiring data, skimming off data, and using it as part of the 2016 election, apparently. They started with a small app, as you've probably heard a little bit of the story, just a quiz, a survey. Mm-hmm. Next thing you know, they'd gathered information on some 50 million Facebook users. This tells you that Facebook really is a data mining company themselves. And that's what they're making their money off of. It was kind of interesting. Tim Cook, the CEO of Apple, kind of dug into Facebook a little bit this past week as well, saying that they were essentially selling their clients' information, that their clients' data, their privacy, had been commoditized, if you will. And so we saw Facebook really get smacked around this past week, and now we're going to wait and see what happens. Will Zuckerberg appear before Congress? He's been requested to do that. He's been requested to appear before the prime ministers, the ministers over in the UK as well. And so far, nothing concrete as far as Zuckerberg making an appearance. But it'll be interesting to see what else he has to say. Of course, there's been apologies, and some changes to privacy settings for Facebook clients. But is it enough? There was a lot of brand damage done to Facebook this past week. And also, a lot of people starting to question what's going on with big tech and big data all over the place.
Right, and we saw this past week, even Amazon had one of its biggest declines, and Trump fired off criticism at Amazon during the week, tweeting that Amazon pays little or no taxes. Of course, the stock may have been coming down for other reasons, but that was an interesting twist.
Yeah, that was an interesting twist, and I'm wondering what's really behind that, because Amazon does pay taxes. They haven't always paid, and what we're referring to here primarily is sales tax. Mm-hmm. Amazon pays sales tax. They don't collect for their third-party vendors, but they pay sales tax and they pay property tax. Now, at one point, they didn't pay sales tax if they weren't within the state. And in many instances now, they don't pay city sales taxes. But they do pay state sales tax in every state at this point. So I don't know what the argument is, other than the fact that Jeff Bezos also owns the Washington Post.
I understand that one.
Which has gathered some attention as well.
Right. That's not in the same political sphere as Trump, that's for sure. We had the Federal Reserve this week. Let's talk a little bit about that they're tightening at a little slightly faster pace a little bit this week. Looks like Powell is convinced that he has to move forward and get those rates up. But there's a lot of rumors out there and stories. I don't know whether you agree or not, but I'd heard story that the Fed's got to get rates up because there's a pension crisis, which we all know about, and we got to get rates up to save some of those pensions. I don't know if that's of interest to you, but I heard that story this week. But in any event, the Fed's moving forward.
The Fed is moving forward. At this point, they're moving forward and kind of sticking to the idea of 3 rate increases for 2018. The dot plot didn't really change that, but they're looking forward to 2019 and saying maybe we're going to have to raise that up. There was a little discussion of maybe going to 4 rate increases for 2018, but they're not there yet. It was a little bit of jawboning, I think, on the part of the Fed at this most recent meeting.
They're good at that.
They're good at that, and they can get away with it because it really doesn't matter that much, but it's a way to keep the market subdued, if you will. Just by talking about it, they subdue the market and kind of control the narrative that way. Then they can take their time and slowly but surely get to the point where they do something. And then if they do jawbone and they do decide to be a little bit tighter with policy, they can do that without disturbing the market. So this was a pretty solid opening round for Powell, and this was really his first rate increase. They would like to get up there because the pension problem is one of those things that was snuck into the omnibus spending bill that very few people knew about or paid attention to, and there's been very little mention of it. But basically, they're saying that there are going to be massive pension defaults coming our way, but it's not happening this week. It's not happening in the next 6 months.
You get those interest rates up enough that
we'd like to get prepared for it.
Sinclair No from KFNN 1510 Phoenix and author of the great blog, EatTheBankers.com. Thank you for joining us, Sinclair. And as each week, we close our show with what Ed Hart used to say on the old Financial News Network, and we say here, we will know in the fullness of time.
To Wall Street Raw with nationally recognized market timer and previous Wall Street Week Elf, Mark Leibovit. If you missed any of today's show or to get in touch with Mark, please go to WallStreetRawRadio.com. Any stocks or investment discussed on Wall Street Raw are not in any way a recommendation or solicitation to buy, sell, or hold. We first recommend you seek out a licensed financial professional for advice. Go to WallStreetRawRadio.com for more information on Mark's newsletters and products.
High-performance investors and traders use superior financial tools to achieve superior returns. You have that tool with Mark Leibovit, nationally renowned top market timer, legendary television Wall Street Week Elf, and nightly business report market monitor, who shares with you his unique market tools and commentary at WallStreetRaw.com. Here, Mark provides you with his latest ideas on how to help build and protect your wealth and help you avoid the next big market tsunami. Mark has a special free gift for listeners of his Wall Street Raw radio show. Go to WallStreetRaw.com and sign up for his free monthly Cannabis Vice News Raw report. While there, go ahead and sign up for his free monthly Gold News Raw report. Both are totally free. No credit card information is required, and no one will call. Sign up today for your free Cannabis Vice News Raw report and Gold News Raw report at WallStreetRaw.com.
Water is the single most important thing your body needs, so you want to be sure it's the best for you and your family. Since 2005, thousands have depended on Berkey purified water. The Berkey Guy provides the lowest priced filtration systems in every size. For incredibly delicious water now and in an emergency, get to GoBerkey.com or call 877-886-3653. 877-886-3653. GoBerkey.com.
The answer to being in control of your own healthcare is freedom from insurance. Become part of a group of self-pay patients that come together to share in each other's medical expenses. Individual share amounts begin at $107 a month and $347 for families. Choose from 3 health sharing programs. Holistic treatments may be eligible for sharing. See guidelines. Discount programs available for dental, vision, and pharmacy. Go to libertyoncall.org. That's libertyoncall.org.